What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? So tonight we're gonna try something new, and it's a actually a call-in show. I have the number here on the screen. It's also in the title. If you want to call and ask me a question or something, you can call that number. I guess until we get somebody that actually calls to talk. I don't know. I don't know what we'll do. Um, because I've got everything set up to where I should be able to take the calls. But then again, this is the first time I'm doing it, so I have no idea what I'm doing. Yeah, usually. So, all right. Well, like I said, I'm dialed in. If anybody wants to give me a call, you guys can. Yeah. Oh, we got a caller. Call in queue. All right. Who do we got? Hello, you're talking to Godless Engineer. How are you doing?
Hey, what's going on, man? How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. How are you doing?
Good. I'm good. This is Ethan, progressive liberal. I figured I'd give you a call and just make sure everything was working, and it is, isn't it?
Oh yes, I mean it is doing great. I'm. This is
Yeah.
the first time I've ever done this, so it's pretty interesting. Huh.
I was thinking this is the first time I think I've ever called into a radio show. Like I remember my dad like calling into radio shows when I was a kid because he loved talk radio, but I never did it. So I think we're busting each other's cherries right now
Oh,
in
nice.
public.
I love
Yeah.
that idea that we're popping each other's cherries.
Right.
Hi,
Yeah.
it's hi
Yeah. I figured.
Ethan, it's Casey. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Casey?
Good. I wanted to tell you I love your videos, and for anybody
Thank
watching,
you.
if you don't follow the Progressive Liberal, you should on YouTube. Great channel.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. I was actually watching you talking with Lavender on Lavender 24 about uh, everything that's going on, and it's a tragedy. It's just a tragedy right now. So,
Yeah, it is pretty bad. And what did you think of that conversation?
there was there's so much. I live in the Pacific Northwest, so I'm really removed from a lot of this, but I have family that lives in Florida. So, and I don't know if anybody knows this, but there's similar law going through the Florida legislature. So, several of them are up in arms about it, and rightly so. The issue here is not just an attack on women's reproductive rights. It's an attack on the sexuality of people,
Mm-hmm.
and I really liked Casey and Lavender touched on that a lot with the gay couple who had a surrogate child in Canada and came back home, and now they're having trouble getting citizenship for the child. You see what's going on with transgender people in the military. So this is an attack on sexuality. We're focused on the abortion thing right now because it's fresh in our minds, but this is an attack on who you are allowed to have sex with and be attracted to.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I
So
totally agree.
yeah, and it's because of organized religion and Christianity, and I have family that are Christians, and so I hate saying it in that way, but that's what it's about. It's about evangelical Sharia law in the United States, and this is their first wave. So, I know a lot of people give a lot of progressive shit for how loud and aggressive we can be about politics, but it's because I know myself and a lot of people like me get emotional when we see things like this because in my perfect utopian progressive world, none of this shit would happen ever. And if you don't want any of this shit to happen, you and I are on the same side. And maybe we aren't on a lot of other things, but it's progressives like me that would never, ever, ever allow anything like this to happen in our utopia. So.
No, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't either. I feel like I'm pretty fairly well balanced. I guess well balanced in the political arena, and I feel like I'm a very progressive kind of guy. So,
Right.
You know, this whole thing. Huh? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I totally agree. I mean, I've been a subscriber to your channel for a long time. So,
okay.
Yeah. I think, you know, you're probably not as, I don't know, in your face aggressive about politics like I am. But that's okay. I forgive you.
Well, you know, I have been in the past, and you know, those
Sure,
videos haven't gone over so well in the community.
Right.
So it's not that I don't touch on that at all. It's just that like I try to really only touch on it when there's like a mix of religion and government and everything like that.
Right.
Like just general opinions on politics, we kind of save for like the Skeptic Mafia podcast. We cover a good bit of that, and plus I throw it in every Wednesday with the comments video. I gotta throw in that like I got to throw in that hard hit to Donald Trump or conservatives or something like that. And occasionally, sure. I'll throw some shade to like the more left kind of crowd, but it's very rare.
Well, and I don't think you know, I was being more facetious than anything, and I don't think there's anything wrong with not paying attention to politics. I think that's okay, because it's not for everyone. But the reason that people like me pay so much attention to politics is because we don't want situations like this to ever arise. Mm-hmm. And seeing it happen before my eyes and feeling so powerless to, you know, in the immediate present is frustrating. So if you follow me on Twitter, I yell a lot.
Yeah, I think I did follow you on Twitter. I want to say that I did.
Oh,
if I
did you?
Huh?
Yeah, well, I use the F word a lot, so.
Have you seen my videos?
Okay, that's true. You got a point there.
If I'm not following you on Twitter yet, I will be soon. As soon as this stream's over, or I can get a chance.
All right.
Oh, okay. Casey can send me.
I know Casey is, yeah.
Yeah. Casey will get me there. But anyways, so do you want to tell everybody like where they can find you, like on YouTube? Because you do some really good videos over there on your channel, and you deserve a lot more subscribers than you're getting. I
appreciate it. I mean, my channel's only like 2 months old, so you know, don't feel too bad about it. But you can find me Progressive Liberal. What you can do right now is just search what is a fetal heartbeat, and I'm actually the 9th result, which is insane because it's my 12th video and I'm the 9th result on YouTube, it blows my mind. I don't know how I did that. But if you search what is a fetal heartbeat, you'll see my video, and you can find me that way, or find me on Twitter, ProLibShow. Those are the two best ways to find me. And I appreciate any subscribers right now. I literally have like 20. So yeah. Anybody that has mercy and doesn't mind following me, I'd appreciate it.
Oh yeah, and like I said, you've got really high quality videos, and they're well researched. And anybody that likes my stuff should definitely like your stuff. So everybody that's watching, yeah, definitely go and subscribe to the Progressive Liberal. Do you have like a schedule or anything that you release on right now, or are you just kind of feeling it out?
What I've established for myself is Thursdays. Is that I'm going to be putting out a video on Thursdays. And I want to put together some sort of, I'm going to start doing a live stream. I've got a couple of people who've reached out to me and said that they're interested, so I got to get that put together. But I also want to do Star Trek shows, so I've got a few Star Trek videos on my channel if you're into that. So I'll probably do some sort of geek thing on like a Friday, and then be doing politics on the weekend, Saturday or Sunday. So I'll be more of a weekend thing. You'll get a video from me on Thursdays, and then Friday or Saturday you're going to get a geek thing, and then on Saturday or Sunday you'll get a politics thing. Once we get it figured out.
Oh, that's cool. No, I think that's a really good deal. Now, as far as like being able to rank in search results and whatnot, basically, if you go out there and you look up just basic SEO things, that's a really good idea. But you want to target, like, you want to have your title, and then you want to have like keywords and stuff in your title, of course. But then you want to litter your description with those same keywords, and then litter your tags with the keywords too. The title and description are going to be a bit more important than your tags because they're putting a lot less emphasis on the tags right now. But all of those things working together are kind of what hit that sweet spot.
Okay, that's great information. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Oh yeah, no problem. Hey, you want any other unsolicited advice? Feel free to contact me on Twitter or anywhere.
I will. Unsolicited advice is actually my favorite kind, so I appreciate that.
All right. Well, I've got 2 more callers in the queue, so I think I'm going to jump to the next one. But everybody should go subscribe to Progressive Liberal. Casey's littering the chat right now with his channel. Go subscribe to him. He's got great content. Definitely look at that fetal heart video. You'll understand why it's such an arbitrary line to draw in the sand.
Thank you so much. Bye, Casey.
Bye.
See you, man. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I dropped that call, and now let's talk to the next one. Hello, you were online with Godless Engineer, here to answer all of your YouTube questions. What's up?
Yo, what's up, Godless?
Hi, who am I talking to?
This is Samuel from Denton, Texas. Sorry if you were at the conference that they just recently had in Dallas.
Oh, the Faithless Forum?
Yeah, the Faithless Forum. I missed that, Sorry I couldn't make it out to see y'all.
Oh, well, actually, we weren't able to make it this year, but we're definitely making it next year. So,
we'll catch you next time for sure.
Oh, definitely. I hope so. I always love meeting people, out at conferences and stuff like that. It's always such a rush to, to meet somebody that's been watching my stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So have you ever heard of this YouTube channel? It's called like Warriors for Christ.
Warriors for Christ. It sounds familiar. I mean, all of those channels, I guess, kind of bleed together for me.
Well, I'm thinking about making a YouTube channel where which do you find easiest, like doing response videos to these things, like while they play, or do you prefer off camera, like writing and stuff, and then going at it? What do you usually go into it with a script?
Well, that's a really good question. So there are some times when I do a script, but whenever I have a video that's very script heavy, where I've written out everything that I need to say, it's usually pretty hard for me to record, because I have to read it and memorize whatever I need to say and then say it. It's always much more natural to have more of a general outline or a general kind of thing written up, where you know the information and you've read it and you don't recite it specifically, to what you've got written, but you sort of you have the main ideas in mind, and then you just sort of freely talk about whatever you're supposed to talk about for that particular section. So that's how I do the scripted videos. And then the live ones, those are always a little bit tougher, because you don't really ever have a script, because it's got to flow naturally while you're live streaming. And so you kind of just have to know the information.
Reactionary type thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking when you started talking. What was that?
Sorry about that. I was just saying, so the live things, you want to kind of target that towards more reactionary stuff.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, with the live things, you get to worry about like replayability with people that want to watch, and you also got to be able to think on your feet. It's usually
Yeah.
it's a lot harder to do it live than it would be to script up a video, edit it, and everything because you make a mistake and you can't go back and like erase that shit or re-record or
Yeah.
something like that. So my personal suggestion, if you're planning on doing something, is to start out sort of writing a script or an outline or something, and just sort of feel around as to what's the most natural thing for you to do. Like, what's the easiest way for you to record a video? Is it writing an outline and freely talking about it, or is it sticking strictly to a script? So you just kind of have to feel out what's the most natural thing for you.
Okay, I got you. I appreciate that advice. If you have a little bit of time, I just had like two more questions.
Oh, that's totally fine. Go
Uh,
ahead.
okay, sick. So, yeah, so a lot of these videos that I found, like, it turns out these people have over like 500,000 subscribers, and they're called Warriors for Christ,
Hmm.
and they like on their description it says that they're a pre-denominational Jude 123 ministry, and
Okay.
it's it's like their intro is like, this is not a game, this is war, this is literally evil knocking, will you answer, will you fight, will you defend, we are, and it has like gladiator and Spartan symbolism and war, like soldier shit,
Yeah.
and it's even in like their intro words are even in their like channel description in all caps, like it's a Donald Trump tweet or some shit. And so like I figured like I have a hard time coming across YouTube like Christian videos that are like not already covered by big skeptic channels and stuff. And so,
Hmm.
like, with over 500,000 subscribers, I figured these people would have been picked up. But I think if you haven't checked out some of their shit, it's pretty crazy.
Okay. What?
But
Yeah, I was gonna say, what was the question?
yeah, so next question is, what was your toughest, if not tough, most frustrating debate that you've had on non sequitur?
Ooh, um, most frustrating debate on non sequitur. I don't know. This last one that I had with Chris was pretty frustrating, but I guess it would have to be mm, maybe one of the earlier ones, like the one that I have with supposedly Dave or something. I don't know. I mean, like that was the first debate where I had heard about um like the crepuscular rays argument, and so like I just had never been like uh, exposed to that, and so I didn't know what in the world he was talking about, and so that one was kind of difficult because it made me seem like I just was I guess ignorant, which I guess I technically was, but at the same time it was just frustrating that I wasn't, I guess, better prepared. Or you know what? Actually, most difficult one was the distributist. That was one that he had on his channel and I had on my channel, and that one was very frustrating. It was I probably should have researched him before going into that and realized I shouldn't have done it. you know, but yeah, I
Yeah,
would say the distributist was definitely the most difficult, or the like the hardest one to get through.
gotcha. Okay, and then last thing, I'm also wanting to do debates on my channel.
Hmm.
Where would be the best place to um, reach out for like like religious people who are looking to debate as much as I am?
Well,
Like
you
have
know,
like healthy, not so much debate, just like healthy discussions, like with adequate putback or pushback. You know.
Right. Well, I mean, I would say like Twitter might be a good place, but I mean, yeah, you can't really verify anybody like that. Um, so I don't know, like a good way to start out would probably be getting in touch with like Kyle from NonSec, or somebody like that, and they can help you set up a debate. But generally, the way that I go about it, whenever I want to set up a debate with somebody, is I'll find either their Twitter or their YouTube channel or something. See if they have like a contact thing, like a not a phone number, but an email or just some way to contact them. Or I will just leave my email in their comment section, because they'll see it regardless if the spam filter gets it, because I'm putting in a link. But I just politely ask them, like,
Yeah.
hey, would you like to talk or have a discussion or have a debate on this particular topic? And, sometimes I get some really good people that will come on and talk. And then other times I get people that flake on me. It's really kind of a toss up until you can actually, like, feel your way out of it. So I would say
Yeah.
that's probably the best way, is like if you find a video or you find somebody that you want to debate, just figure out a contact route and just try to make contact.
Okay, gotcha. Cause I've put in like a show suggestion for non-sec on the Discord, and I had a few people say that it was a pretty good idea. Mind if I get your take on it?
Oh, I'm sorry, Casey. Casey was telling me to let you know to just email live@nonsexshow.com if you want Kyle to see it. But I'm sorry. What was your question?
Oh, just wanted to get your thoughts on the debate topic.
Oh,
And
like
I promise I'll leave after that.
oh no, that's fine. Like, do you want me to tell you like what debate topics I think would be interesting, or did you have a certain set?
No, I wanted to like ask you about a certain debate topic to see if you think that it would be like a viable or like
Oh yeah, no, yeah, totally.
yeah.
Go ahead, lay them on me.
Okay, so I was thinking about a steel man debate. So it's two people taking opposite positions, like an atheist versus a Christian, and it's basically kind of like a like devil's advocate exercise of like perspective.
Right.
Like the atheist has to argue for the Christian position against the Christian arguing for the atheist position, and see who, if like they would actually be able to like appropriately and logically steel man like the other's position. And like the cross examination can be like the person who actually takes that position criticizing the like logical pathways that the other person took when they should have like argued for something more substantial or something like that. Like you do you understand the concept?
I think so, but honestly, I think anything that can get the conversation going, and as long as you have both people weighing in on it, I think that it'll be a good way to debate. I have seen some pretty bad like debate setups or debate what ways that people have set up a debate, but um, I I think that everything's worth a try at first. So I
Yeah,
may not
'cause
have like a very clear picture of what you're talking about, but I think I understand what you
yeah,
mean.
because I mean, like, imagine how much more like productive Kent Hovind and Aaron Raw's debate would have been if Kent Hovind was able to accurately like steelman the evolutionary position. But I mean, he couldn't, so that's how you know that you like are dealing with a bad actor.
Yeah,
You
well,
know?
honestly, I try to do that whenever I debate flat earthers. Is I try to get them to understand like what the actual scientific position is. and I try to get them to relate to me that they know what the scientific position is. And a lot of times they simply just either they don't understand, and I try to show them how, it actually works, or they just refuse to understand.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why I feel like someone like you would like do pretty well in that sort of debate, because like a lot of things that like free thinkers or skeptics tend to have is like, like open mind. So they're able to like we're able to like put ourselves in a different perspective,
Yeah.
and like think through it. We just choose the one that makes most sense to us according to the reality we live in. So yeah, no, I definitely notice you doing that stuff. It would just be like an exercise of like two people like the person you're debating also doing that as like part of the structure of the debate.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I think that would be a great thing to try and see if it works out. I think that you might have trouble with some people, not being able to steel man the other person's position. So you got to think of a mitigation for that.
Show.
Huh?
that would be part of the show. Just watching like an apologist try to give like their perspective of what atheists actually think when they're debating.
Yeah.
But man, I really do appreciate your take on it. I'll go ahead and hop off and let some other people ask you some questions.
Yeah, well, hey man, I really appreciate you calling in, and I can't wait to if whenever we do another one of these, I can't wait to hear from you again.
All right, awesome. Thanks, man.
See you, man. Bye. Whoop. Okay. All right, we're about to go to caller 500. Caller 500, how you doing?
Oh, we're up to 500 already, are we?
Well, no, not 500. I was using an identifying number because I realized the last time I was like, "Yo, you're on with GE," and it's like there's two people waiting, and they don't know who I'm talking to.
Well, the thankful thing with the system you've chosen to go with is it does give a tone on our end when you switch over to our line.
Oh,
so
okay.
There is that bonus. Yes, so that helps. So I wasn't confused when you switched over to the previous caller, which that last suggestion he had was rather interesting. But real quick, before we really go down that rabbit hole for the audience who can't already tell, yes, I am Jared from AT2 Productions. Yes, I do have a couple questions for GE that I know the audience is dying to know the answer to. But before we get to that, the whole idea of fabricating a show around people trying to steel man each other's arguments, I don't think the religious-based ones will really be able to happen, because as I was listening to them, the thought went through my head, could I even steel man a religious argument that isn't laced with logical fallacy after logical fallacy after logical fallacy? I don't think that's possible. It would be entertaining to see it attempted, but I don't see how reasonably effective that could be in that mold. But it could still be an entertaining show, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that the whole maybe I have a misunderstanding of what steel manning is, but I feel like you can accurately represent your your opponent's position, and then counter that position with your criticisms and whatnot. Like I can accurately represent the religious case for why the Old Testament laws don't apply to now. I mean, I disagree with the position, but I do understand the position. So I feel like I could steelman that particular discussion topic, but I think that it would be really hard on any religious person as far as trying to steelman either an atheist, I guess, oriented position or a scientific oriented position.
Oh yeah, especially with Hovind in the scientific position, I have zero confidence in him actually being able to support the position appropriately with all the counters that he's faced and has still gotten wrong. And with that, there was a bigger question at hand that I formulated slightly differently. So how large was the team of engineers required for your underwear, and what fabric did they go with?
Well, I mean, they had to go with Kevlar, you know, because, I mean, that shit ain't gonna rip. It stops a bullet. Plus, I want to protect that shit because it's just sort of dangling out here, you know?
Yes, we have to get the obligatory #GE has a massive penis out there. But while listening to Ethan before I called in and the bits that I caught after, going to the political realm with a lot of the new laws that have been pushed in the abortion realm, something really hit me today that I'm wondering what your take on my analysis of it in this way is.
Okay.
The way I'm seeing it is the actual genesis, the actual intent and origination of the ideas behind the laws is pretty much the Christian form of Sharia law, especially the one in Alabama from what I read of it. It has that stink to me.
Yep. That's why in the video that I posted today, I call it Talabama.
Nice. And I think, yes, there is a bit of shock value to it, trying to explain it that way, but I think putting it in that sort of context will get at least the reasonable religious side of it who kind of support the laws to realize just how bad of an idea it was that was laid out. And I hope that there is a correction to it and other states start to realize, okay, maybe this is going too far. That's my hope.
Well, yeah, you see, here's the thing, though, with religious people, is that pretty much they want to ban everything that's anti-Christian God, and they don't see it as the same thing as, like, another religion taking over or enforcing their own religious laws, because it's the Christian one, and they all have this idea that we're a Christian nation and all this other stuff, or we were founded by Moses and fucking, I don't know, Abraham and Jesus. They were all sucking each other's dicks is what they were doing, as they wrote the Constitution, then sucked each other off.
Party.
And don't forget the Mormon flavor too. The new coming, the Zion of the future, is out in the desert outside of Salt Lake City.
Oh yeah, I know. I honestly, I can't believe that Mormons are an actual group that still exists today. I mean, considering how that group started out, I really have a hard time believing that they're all sincere, but I know that they are sincere.
The current ones, yes. The first and second generations are really where I would love to go back and look at them and go like, what is wrong with you people? You guys recognize that your founder was a con man. You guys yourself kicked him out for being a con man, but you kept going with his ideas that he was putting forth?
Yeah. Oh, and they have even crazier ideas that have been promoted by their various, like, church fathers or whatnot, or their leaders. Like, there was this one guy who supposed that there were at like Nephilim or angels or something living on the moon, and they all look like pilgrims. Like, that's a literal thing that this guy used to teach to his Mormon crowd.
Yeah. You know, you got to give them credit for the ingenuity and just how colorful their imagination was when coming up with this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, especially the Mormons. I mean, honestly, like, if you just think about how the shit was found and everything, and everything that unraveled around that, I mean, it's just fucking. You're just like, why? Like, we have better sense now, don't we? But no, no, that we don't, because they're still a fucking thing.
Yeah. Ugh. But anyways, it is late for me. I do have to be up early for work in the morning, unfortunately. Yay. It's been great actually getting to call in on the show. Thanks for the answer. I will have to look into the effects of how Kevlar can be. Well, wait a minute. I should already know some of my riding pants for when I'm on the motorcycle are Kevlar lined. So,
Yeah.
hey,
Well,
something in common there.
Yeah. So, did you see John Wick Chapter 2?
I have not. I will say I am out of touch with a number of movies simply
Okay.
because I've been between school full time, work full time, and everything for my primary channel on AT2 Productions and getting everything set up this winter for AT2 Moto, which is a thing now. I don't have much time.
Oh, okay. Well, no, it's just that in John Wick Chapter 2, he has a special tailor-made suit that it has like body armor like sewn into the fabric. Like his actual jacket is like a body armor, and I figured that would probably be better for my cock holster, because the Kevlar would probably be pretty thick.
Yeah, yeah. The ceramics will actually give it that rigidity and support that it needs. All right, guys. Well, thank you, and enjoy the rest of your night. I will see you guys around.
All right. See you later, man. You have a good night.
Bye.
All right. Luckily, we've got 2 more callers on the line, so we're gonna try to get through these, and I'm just gonna restrict this first test phase to just an hour. So we're gonna try to get to these next couple of callers. So, all right, caller, you are on the line. You should have gotten a tone that I didn't even know about.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, my name is Matt. I was just calling. I never called into one of these before. I'm kind of forgot what I was going to say now.
Oh, okay. Matt, who are you? What's your screen name in the YouTubes?
Matthew Trevelyan.
Hi.
Yes, I talk to Casey quite often whenever I come to your chat.
Okay. So, how you doing tonight?
I'm a little upset about these abortion laws going on in Alabama, Ohio, and Georgia.
Oh yeah, we're pretty pissed off too. If you couldn't tell.
Yeah, and I just don't understand what's going on in our country right now, where the religious seem to be taking over. I watched on the Utah Outcast today where a preacher straight out said they need to raise money to get arms so they can take over the country and enforce Christian law today.
Yeah, I that kind of fear mongering rhetoric right there. I don't know. It makes me laugh every time because it's like it's scary and you don't want it to happen, but at the same time, I feel like they're the guys that like have an arsenal of weapons and they post pictures of them with their arsenal of weapons, but then they basically shoot their dicks off whenever something actually comes up.
I wish I could do more. There's some, I don't know what, I wish we, as a community of atheists and secular people, could come together and, we need to put more people who think like us into Congress and into places of power so we don't lose this beautiful country that we've built so far.
Yeah. Hi, honey. Do you have something to say?
Yeah, so I was going to tell you, you might be happy to know that in Alabama, the mayor of Birmingham announced or confirmed today that 2 major IT companies that are headquartered in Birmingham are moving out of the state because of the abortion laws.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I said. I was like, it's a shame that people have to lose their jobs. Like, I hate that. But the governments of the states that are doing this are not going to learn unless companies do this. There's a movie that was supposed to be filmed in Georgia that is no longer going to be filmed in Georgia because of their laws. So, this is the kind of stuff, it needs to hit them, and it needs to hit them hard so that they realize society basically needs to show them this isn't okay. And so I hope this kind of stuff keeps happening.
I do too. And I'll go ahead and let you get to the next caller. Thank you very much for putting up with me.
Oh no, I love talking to everybody that's calling in. So it's great to be able to talk to you, and I hope next time we do this, you'll call back in.
Thank you.
Thanks. You have a good night, man. All right, we got another caller. The phone lines are full again. I only did 2 lines, so next time I think I'm gonna have to do like more, but we'll see. Let's see. Talk. There we go. You're on
Hello.
with Godless Engineer.
Hi, Godless. This is Lewis from Kentucky. I can actually, where my house sits, I can see right across the Ohio River. But I was going to ask you, how much do you think that these walls in general are just from a lack of science education? Like, a lot of these conservatives, when you hear them speak things, it's just basic biology, the things that I just knew. I was taught in like 9th grade, and it's like, I don't know if it's just a lack of education that allows them to say some of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it probably is a lack of education. At least a lack of knowing the actual information. They're just ignorant about like the effects of having widespread access to abortion, and they're also ignorant of like what it means to call something a baby, and it's amazing to me that they speak. Well, I guess it's along the lines of Dunning-Kruger, because they feel like they're so in tune with what actually makes a child, or what constitutes as like a child in the womb or something like that, because they'll call like a small walnut like a human or a child or something like that, and say that it's murder to kill that thing, but it's really not. So I think that them being scientifically illiterate is pretty is pretty on the nose, because you have to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was about to say scientific illiteracy is just huge. Like, I don't know if you heard about this, but when they were pointing out to the senator in Ohio that ectopic pregnancies can't be reimplanted, he points to 2 cases out of like hundreds of years that medical science has been around. He points to 2 cases, not realizing that those 2 cases he points to were wrote down and studied because they were extraordinary, not because it was a normal thing that could happen.
Right. so basically he pointed to some evidence that's the exception and not the rule, because he's ignorant of like how to actually understand the information.
Right. Like, the reason why that was wrote down to begin with wasn't because it was a normal procedure. It was because it was extraordinary, kind of like the only person that was ever cured for AIDS. Like, they wrote down and documented every step of it because it's the only case we have.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So, but you also have to
ahead.
understand that most of these people think that abstinence only is the only kind of sex education you need, but they also believe in a virgin that got pregnant.
Yeah, I always thought that was kind of like funny, like on the Christian end, because they're just like abstinence only, and then like their savior was literally born from a virgin, even though that's not actually what the Bible says. But I'm not going to get into that because reasons. But it's the actual Hebrew that the Greeks looked at meant young girl, not virgin, and so like a lot of people don't know that that it very much seems that the New Testament was written by people that didn't actually have access to any of the Hebrew manuscripts, because if they did, they wouldn't be making all these mess ups that you see in there, which is like there's an insane amount in the New Testament which are just obviously people going back and reading and then interpreting something horribly wrong that would have been known if they just went and asked somebody that could actually speak the language.
Yeah, I mean, it really would be. But I mean, with that, you know, you have to understand, like, the reason why they think that is because, like, the Gospels, they say that they got their information from, like, the scriptures. So I think that there's a reason why they do that, even if those weren't actually prophecies. But I mean, like you said, those are that's kind of another topic, which, I mean, we could get into, but I do have two other people on the line, and I could talk all night about that kind of shit.
Yeah, but that's pretty much the only thing I was really wanting to talk to you about, just the science education, because it just seems like all those like a lot of laws that conservatives passed could have just been easily stopped if somebody was in that room going, but that's not how biology works, or that's not how climate works.
Yeah, I mean, that would be nice, but you have to understand that Dunning-Kruger has a hold on them, like, really hard. So they think they know more than, like, medical professionals. And they'll latch on to these so-called medical professionals that agree with them about things, and they'll throw out appeals to authority whenever it comes to those kind of things. So, I mean, they will always have a thing that they can turn to, you know, and be like, but aha, I have you caught in a corner now, kind of thing.
Right. I was about to leave, but I was just also going to say is that, are you familiar with the history of the Academy of Sciences? It was made by Congress because Congress, sometime, it was like the mid-1800s, started to understand that science was starting to outstrip their understanding. And it was used for like 100 years to inform law. It's only recently that Congress has not actually consulted the Academy of Sciences at all to any law. Like, it's been like the last 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting to hear. I don't know what the history behind that is, but I mean, it would be I would be very interested to know why they stopped consulting with that. But yeah, I don't really know about that.
Okay, I was just letting you know that was the interesting trend I noticed, is that when Congress started making laws that weren't informed by science, was around the same time that they stopped actually consulting an actual thing they made to just see if their law was scientifically accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think that would be the smart thing to do, but I'm sorry, go ahead.
So I'm going to hop off here because there's two people behind me, and I don't want to monopolize your time.
Oh no, you're fine. But yeah, I do want to get to them. But I really appreciate you calling in, and I hope that you'll call in again.
Okay.
Bye.
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 Okay, there we go. All right, so we got another caller. Hold on, we're getting it. Hello.
Hey, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you. Who's this?
Sweet. This is Nathan.
Hey, Nathan.
Howdy. Glad to be calling in tonight. I want to talk about murder and morality, if that's all right. Kind of on the infanticide tangent that I know the Bible's in favor of.
Okay.
So basically, I think you and I might agree intrinsic value is not, something that is an absolute that we can say exists, right? But we can prescribe extrinsic value to things, such as, babies being cute and stuff like that. That's extrinsically worth it to me, right? But
well, I mean, what would your example of an intrinsic value be?
Like something that is designated by God to have worth or something. That would be, in my opinion, that's something that I believe is definitionally intrinsic, right? Something that has worth just because it does.
Well, I mean, so can you give me like an instance of something you think is ordained by God as having intrinsic value?
Nothing. I guess that I would perceive, because I'm an atheist, but I guess human life would be considered intrinsic under like some religious moral, spectrum. Something. I mean, it really depends, I guess. Back when the Native Americans and the colonists were over here, I mean, I remember they thought that it was intrinsic that Native Americans were dying of disease. I mean, it kind of just is up to perspective. I mean, I think that a lot of intrinsic values are based in culture and based in kind of what we extrinsically apply to them, and we just assume God is in favor of, and then anything that God likes is thus intrinsic. So I guess my question is to say, do you think, kids have intrinsic value, or anything has intrinsic value?
Well, I have to be honest, I'm not all that fluent in designating what's intrinsic and what's extrinsic as far as all of that goes, but I mean, I would probably say that there's a lot of intrinsic value in the world, and I would say that there is intrinsic value in children. I think there's a lot of value that we assign to children as well. I feel like my son has a lot of intrinsic value. I mean, he values himself, and I value him, just in general. So I guess I don't know how that plays into what you're talking about here.
Yeah, so the key thing you said there was that you value him and he values himself, which that would be prescribed value, which means it's not intrinsic. That would be an extrinsic value. That's how I understand it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess the best
along the lines of that. You what?
Oh no, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, so kind of on the spectrum of, birth control. If we believed that, a zygote was itself intrinsically valuable, we would feel horrible about, terminating that process. I think that's a lot of times where abortion laws come into place, because they grant even that, first embryonic, is the size of a walnut, right? Not developed, not a baby, not really a human yet, just kind of has the DNA and could become that at some point. A lot of Christians, I feel, because they feel there's a soul in there, or that God has designed that to be intrinsic, they would feel bad terminating that. But I think that I don't believe any absolute, objective value is given to anything. I would say that, birth control is fine. I would also say abortion is fine. But it comes a point where, maybe a 24-week pregnancy, that's closer to a baby. But I feel like it's always something you can control, right? And I think that murder, too, is something that we can control. And not just something like killing someone, but controlling them. So, for example, I feel like it's always moral to control that which cannot control us. That would be, prisoners. That would be enemies of different countries, I guess, during wartime, or animals, the things that cannot control us, right? So if you think about babies, do you believe that abortion is only fine just because it's in the womb, or do you believe that a baby that we can control and it cannot control us is moral to dictate whether or not they live or die?
Well, no, there's a vast difference in a fetus and then a baby. When you're talking about 24 weeks along or whatnot, you're talking about very late term in gestation, where those are, I don't know if you know the statistics, but that's like late term. That would be anything past the 13-week mark is only 5% of any abortions that happen. And so it's very specific instances that happens. So I would say that no, it's not. It's we don't have the right to determine whether a baby lives or dies, but also that fetuses that are not viable outside of the womb are not children.
Right. I guess my point is to try to say there doesn't need to be a distinction. I feel like a lot of people are getting butthurt just because they're calling it a baby when it's really not. It's just a fetus. But I feel like even if you do call it a baby, it's still something that, in the example of, let's say, you have to kill the baby or kill the mom, right? Obviously, you'd kill the baby and you'd save the mother's life. But what if instead of life or death in the form of an operation, it was life or death in the form of, if you actually take this child to term and you have the baby, you're not going to be able to, feed it, or you, as a result of taking care of the baby, are going to have to, work an extra shift or something. You know what I'm saying? It's going to basically alter the lifestyle in a negative way. I feel like that's why we have adoption, so that you can just give up that child. But do you feel like there needs to be a line drawn where we can't just say, just kill the baby? I mean, they used to do that, and there's a lot of animal species that do that. They eat their own children, or, whatever it is. I mean, it's just, as long as we're not discussing things which literally are moral or immoral based on like a God standard, I guess the objective standard that we could aim ourselves for is to control that which cannot control us, right? So then in that framework, it would be moral to kill a baby, even if they're like 2 months old, assuming there's not a better, foster care system to take them to.
Well, hold on. Exactly which situation is it okay to kill a 2-month-old baby?
If it's inconvenient to the person taking care of it, and there's no other, way to give that to somebody.
No, I mean, no, I completely disagree with that. Like, there are obvious avenues that we have set up to where you don't have to kill the baby, and even then,
right?
Huh?
I agree. I mean, I'm not saying do it willy-nilly. I'm saying last resort. Should we consider it within the moral sphere as a last resort? Because ultimately, aren't we out looking for ourselves? And for example, if I'm going to, murder, that's colloquially immoral because killing people inversely infringes upon my own rights, right? Then other people who are capable of murder could indeed kill me. But infants can't kill us. So I feel like babies don't fit into that same hierarchy. And so if push comes to shove, it would be moral to, murder the thing that cannot control you. I mean, we've done this in the past. When we didn't recognize women to have certain rights, we wouldn't give them rights. We wouldn't allow them to do certain things. And I'm not on that train, obviously, because we've realized that there is extrinsic worth, or intrinsic, depending on the way I guess you would value that, to women. There is intrinsic worth or extrinsic to people of color. I mean, we've recognized these things, but I feel like babies aren't capable of, being worth it to us at some points. They have the promise to grow into adults, but they aren't today. I mean, it's just kind of a philosophical question of where do we draw the line if we don't prescribe, God to be this, giver of souls and something like that, for it to be so obvious.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't think that you necessarily need God in order to know that you shouldn't kill a baby. I mean, I don't think that it's ever moral to kill a baby, and I think that it's pretty reprehensible to even suggest that, since babies can't fight back, it's okay to kill them. Like that's a pretty fucked up moral kind of sense there. Like,
Well, no, I totally get you. I mean, babies in society and in culture are worth a lot, and obviously we can recognize they do become humans and all this kind of stuff. And I'm not saying, that this is something that I think what society would accept. I'm just saying, philosophically, in some kind of way, truthfully, the root behind morals is to guarantee something to be beneficial to us, right? So when I go down the street and I, pick up swearing's not immoral, but if I get a negative result from swearing, people, don't like me the same amount, they don't listen to me, I'll learn that it's immoral to swear. So in the same way that infanticide is immoral currently, I wouldn't want to go around saying that that's what I'm for. But if we were in a society where that was, like back in the day, they would, just throw them in the trash. They, leave them out to die. I mean, that's what we do with other animals. That's what animals do with their young. I'm just trying to point out.
Are you talking about like the
Romans
or something? Like, are you talking about like
during
the Peloponnesian War or something like that?
Well, I'm not saying any particular example, just pulling from, generic understanding of, past times and, relations other animals have between them and their young. All I'm saying is I feel the culture surrounding us gives worth to babies when worth intrinsically doesn't exist. So if along, maybe like 100 years down the line, we no longer recognize babies to have, the worth that we now give them, it would then be moral to do with them what we please.
No, I don't. I think that you could say that it's definitely wrong to kill your young. I mean that doesn't make sense on a social animal level. It doesn't make sense on a on a continuation of the species kind of level. Like it just like that kind of idea right there sounds like the antisocial fringe of like a society where they would not be necessarily feel like a part of the society because they're on the fringes of it. So yeah, I don't know. I have to totally disagree with your assertion here, but I appreciate the call.
Huh. Yeah, awesome. All right. You don't think even in the future, like when we end up growing people in, chambers and stuff, that we won't really value the process or the, baby as much? You don't see that as ever being a possibility?
I do not think there will ever be a time where it will be good to kill a 2-month-old child. No.
Do you think it's good to kill a fetus, though?
I don't see that in terms of good or bad. I see it in terms of the bodily rights of a woman, and I don't think that the fetus is a human child. Like it's not a human being at that point. So there's no right or wrong to it. It would be like, oh, is it wrong to kill that parasite inside you? Like there's no right and wrong about it. If a woman is accidentally gets pregnant or something like that, she should have full access to abortion whenever she finds out and can have it. Now, that being said, at a certain point, you have to understand that abortions just simply don't happen unless they're medically necessary. And even then, I think that it should be up to the woman if the fetus is if the fetus is viable at that point. It should be up to the mother as to whether or not like the child lives or she lives. Like I think that she should get that particular decision because I mean it still is her body that will either die or live, so she should have the ability to dictate that. And if the child is viable, then there's a chance that the child could live. I mean, all of this just gets down to the fact that women should have the right to their bodies, and in the cases of pregnancy, to make a decision for themselves. It's not good or bad for a woman to get an abortion. It just is a medical procedure.
Right, but it's also to make sure the woman is getting, the best circumstance for her out of the two. I mean, if it's a lose-lose, you're going to have to lose the baby or lose your life. The woman would be more valuable. I'm just saying, the logical extent of where that could lead is if a 2-month-old is in a similar situation where now it's not, viable anymore to keep the kid and there's no adoption alternative.
No, that's never going to be a thing. I do need to get to other callers, so I appreciate you calling in, though.
Yeah, no problem. And I think this philosophy, too, goes back to one of the, I don't know, I read a book a while ago that also kind of put babies in the same category as people who have mental disabilities. Is that, yes, we recognize their worth in society, I guess, but technically, the whole philosophy of control that which cannot control us. I thought, maybe that'd be an interesting talking point to discuss.
Okay,
so, yeah,
it is an interesting topic, and maybe we can talk about that another time. Okay?
Sweet. All right. Appreciate it, man.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Was it? All right, so we got another caller calling in. Hello, how are you doing?
What the fuck did I just listen to, man? What up, big brother? I figure I'd harass you a little bit on your show while I'm driving and shit. How you doing, man? That was a crazy ass call.
Huh?
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, good. Yeah, that was a crazy ass call, man. Shit.
I know,
don't even
right?
know I had like this whole other thing I was going to talk about, and I'm like, what? I mean, I see the point of view he's coming from, but I can't agree with that point of view. So
No,
it's hard to fight for that.
yeah, I totally disagree with his whole assertion and his whole, I guess, thought experiment. I really don't know where he lands on that whole issue. It's Team
Yeah.
Skeptic on the phone.
Well,
Sorry, I was telling the audience.
I can hear her talking. Yeah, what is she saying in the background? Because I can hear her talking.
She says, "Tell everybody who it is."
Oh yeah, they may not. It's your favorite. It's your favorite debunker's favorite debunker, guys. It's Team Skeptic.
Yeah, which we've actually got a collaboration video coming out soon, right?
Yeah, this weekend. I just got to finish recording my parts. I've already written it. I want to say, man, there was something that I was totally like. I was halfway through my script, right, and I was like dreading writing the last part of it. And then I looked over and I was like, why is G's video like another 5 minutes long? What the heck, man? Like, I didn't, because I'd already placed your parts, and I went and listened to it, and you already wrote for the last part. I was like, oh my God, this is, God exists. Because I sure was hating life, and then Godless Engineer shows up to save the day and write the third part. So that was an unexpected surprise. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah,
I did want to make a comment on. I did make a comment on what one of the previous people that was asking about channel, and I think you had back-to-back callers really that were talking about starting their channel. So I kind of wanted to weigh in a little bit on that because it's something that I've paid a lot of attention to my own channel. You know, I've watched myself go through times where I struggled, and I checked back and saw what I did, and compared that to times when I wasn't doing as bad, and saying, okay, work. And so I just wanted to kind of give my couple of points on that, you know, and kind of give them some advice coming from me. I feel like I'm lucky that my channel has grown as fast as it has. You know, I've been really, really lucky, especially when I've gotten support from people like yourself, you know.
Yeah.
And that's one of the first points I want to bring up for these people that are wanting to start their own channel. The first thing you need to do is find somebody who is successful online and figure out what works, because something for them works. And in Godless Engineer's case, I modeled my channel when I thought, like, who should I be like mine that is also successful? I mean, there's lots of people that try to do what we do that are unsuccessful, and you and I are pretty successful at what we do. So, you know, I modeled myself after you. I didn't want to be a Godless Engineer. I don't want to be Godless Engineer 2.0, but I definitely, it's like, if I wanted to design a car, I wouldn't start by putting the wheels on top, you know? I would start by putting the wheels on the bottom like every other car that works and is driving on the road does. And you're a car that drives on the road. You have a wide lane, and people should look to you as an example to grow their own channel. That would be my very first, you know, point of advice. That's really what made me completely change when I said, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? And who should I be modeling it over? And the moment I started changing, my channel started growing. There's also a good channel out there for newcomers that are trying to get their channel going, and I mentioned him in the chat. I was trying to get it out to that one person, I guess 3 or 4 callers ago now, but there's a channel out there, Brian G. Johnson. He's a great channel. He'll give you basic information to how to grow your channel from day one. If you were like me, where I was hitting a stagnant point at about 7,500 subscribers, and it felt like I was only going up 10 a day. So I went and I did some research and looked at what I was doing. A lot of the SEO stuff that you were talking about, he talked about. Once I started making some SEO changes, I started noticing that my videos were being watched by a lot more people. So that would be my first. Those are my suggestions, and you know, I'll leave it at that. I know you got other things to do, and I don't want to keep you on too long.
no, man. I've got all the time in the world for you.
Get a room.
Well, that's awesome.
So,
Move
so
over,
no,
Casey.
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said move over, Casey.
So, like with that particular subject, SEO is pretty big here on YouTube because YouTube is actually the second biggest search engine out there. That's right behind Google. And I mean, Google, even there, you still get suggestions like about videos and stuff. It's actually one of the main things that comes up whenever you search for anything on Google. And so you've got Google searches that help you out, and you've got YouTube search in general. Now, with the YouTube search, you have to know to like pick an actual phrase or like a keyword phrase or just keywords in general and litter them with your video with them. And the more that you can do that, the better for SEO. And that's usually the first stop that you want to do as far as like what can I change on my channel to make it do better is to shore up your SEO stuff, because that'll get new eyes on your content. It'll also help in the suggestions, because the suggestions use the same engines that the search engine uses in order to suggest videos.
Yeah, well, that I found that's the hardest thing for me to do is get my own videos and my suggested ones afterwards. I mean, I'm starting to show up on the suggested feed, like the view, the new view, the recommended feed, I guess. But my suggested videos I never show up, and I struggle to try to figure that out, man, because I don't know. I try.
Well,
I try, and every time I watch a video, I see it says 0 of 20 suggested are from this viewer or from this user.
Right. Well, I mean, what's your suggested traffic like? I guess like a roundabout percentage-wise.
Are you talking about for my subscriber versus non-subscriber, or where I get most of my traffic from?
Yeah, like where you get your traffic from, there should be like a part that says like suggested, and I'm wondering what that looks like in general.
Well, honestly, my suggested feed is your videos, Conspiracy Cats videos, Fight the Flat Earth videos, and The Creaky Blinder, and a few other like I watch a lot of science documentaries, so I do get science documentaries. I get a lot of like Vsauce and other those, but primarily my suggested on the sidebar is all you, Creaky, Fight the Flat Earth, and Conspiracy Cats, and Simon and Dan. Nobody else really gets love on my suggested tabs for some reason.
Well, actually, I don't know. Maybe you can look on the screen here Oh, okay. Thank you, honey. But no, on your traffic source types in your analytics, it actually has a suggested videos source type that you can look at and see. Mine is at 30% right now, so like 30% of my views come from that. And I would look at that, and then how they actually suggest videos, like your videos to people, is through retention time and through accurate descriptions of your video. It's always good to make sure that the first few lines or so are littered with like keywords and everything like that. So
yeah, I've actually started doing that. I've changed it up so that I'm pretty much hitting every word in my title, as well as I'm making sure that I have keywords that are hit in the description. In the very first, I believe it's 200 characters, I believe, that you have to hit as many keywords as you can in the first 200 characters or something like that.
Yeah, because that's what search will pull in. Okay, honey. let me let you go, Team Skeptic, and get to another caller here real quick.
Call you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll call you tomorrow.
No. Hey, go ahead. I just wanted to call in and say, what the fuck? Baby killing? Oh my God. That was interesting, though. Whoever called in, that's a great topic to talk, because you had me shit in my pants, bro. So.
All right, man.
Love you, bro. You take it easy, man, and you have a good rest of the show. I'm about to jump back in the live chat and listen for a little bit.
All right, man. Love you too. You have a good night. Drive safe, all right?
All right, yes, sir. Later.
Later. We did have a super chat from Karmic Brutality saying, "GE, keep up the great work, and I appreciate that so much." So we do have another couple of callers. These are going to be the last two callers. We got to make them kind of quick. So let's go on ahead and get into the next call. What up?
Hi there, G. Hi there, Casey. How are you guys tonight?
Oh, yeah, we're doing pretty good. Who are we talking to?
So my screen name is Stroke Assaulter. I've got a relatively small channel. It's basically about my stroke journey, recovery, reintegration. I had a stroke almost a year ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How are you doing now?
But it's okay. Say it again?
How are you doing now?
No worries. I'm in it to win it.
Oh, that's awesome to hear.
So, a couple things. I'm a Canadian, so I don't understand all y'all American ways at times. So, first off, the last caller was actually quite helpful because I'm trying to grow my channel, but I'm not going to take up your time with my troubles. The guy before that, there's only one nation in history that had a government policy of eliminating people with mental health issues, children, and other people that weren't considered of use. And that was the Nazis.
Yeah.
So if you want to get into retroactive birth control, that's a moral sliding slope that I think we should avoid.
No, yeah, I totally agree. And I brought up the Peloponnesian War, and the reason why I brought that up was because I know that, like, I believe it was the Romans, the Spartans. No, it was the Spartans that had a pretty horrible, like, policy of killing certain kids or throwing them off a cliff or something like that. Like, I admittedly, like, my knowledge is very small about it, but I do know that they had some pretty horrible practices as far as, like, the Spartans go.
Well, under the Nazis, you had 3 independent doctors that were just given cases, and as long as all of the doctors agreed that that person served no use to the state, they could be euthanized in a hospital.
Right.
I think that guy was trying to bait you into stepping on your meat, right? So that's what I think he was trying to do, but thank you. You've got a Kevlar banana hammock to protect your meat, so you're not going to step on it.
You're goddamn right.
So, in regards to the American Taliban in some of your lower states, now I do follow politics. So basically, the American evangelical right started to politicize around the time of Reagan. That's when they realized if they wanted to get their moral code and their worldview brought into legislation, they had to become politically active and savvy. Started around Reagan. George Bush Jr. watched his father lose an election because of it, and he became politically savvy within the evangelical community. So seeing how your Constitution forbids the combination of church and state in any way, and your founding fathers expressly, for the large part, admitted that they don't want any one religion to be over any other in the United States, how is it those laws are even allowed to exist?
Well, see, the thing is that if you have the right people in the right positions, that kind of stuff can get passed. And that's pretty much exactly what we're seeing right now. You had the right kind of people that were in the government, and they pushed through this bill, and there was nothing basically to stop it, because you had more than enough people voting for it to pass it through. So of course it's going to get passed through. Now, see, the government system does have checks and balances, so like it can be pushed all the way up to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court will make a decision, and once the Supreme Court makes a decision, that's it. That's final. Unless sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. No, go ahead, G.
Okay. Unless the Supreme Court overrules their own decision. So the only thing that can overrule a Supreme Court decision is the Supreme Court itself.
But don't you have to have an active case before a lower court? So you have to have someone that gets refused an abortion, who's then going to have the child anyways, and then take the state to court and then fight it before it Because I don't think you can preemptively take something to the Supreme Court in the States, can you?
Oh, no. It's got to get pushed up through the various levels, but that's also why there are so many states passing these types of laws. Because they're going to try to inundate the appeal system with appeals to the laws and then get it pushed and advanced all the way up to the Supreme Court level so that they can overturn Roe v. Wade. That's their ultimate end game plan.
Yeah, because my first philosophy is if you don't have a uterus, shut the fuck up.
That's a good philosophy.
Because I might enjoy people that have uteruses or uterusi, but if you don't have one, I don't think you're legally or morally, ethically entitled to an opinion on what goes on inside the uterus. I agree with you. If abortion should not be used as a form of retroactive recreational birth control. You should take personal responsibility in your actions. But that being said, at what point does the state get involved with someone's life and just say, no, we won't allow that medical procedure, right? You get into that whole, not so much moral, but just personal responsibility dilemma.
Right. Yeah, and honestly, those particular types of situations are I would say, extremely rare. Those are on the fringe of things, and most abortions happen prior to the 13-week mark, and that's 95% of them do. And so it's actually been shown through analysis of many years of data that wider areas that have easy access to abortion actually end up decreasing in their abortion rates. It's only in the restriction of abortion and general women's healthcare and sex education that you see more abortions happening, or more girls getting pregnant that don't want to be pregnant, didn't mean to get pregnant. And this for various reasons. Either birth control didn't work, or they can't take birth control, or something happened. They get raped, or they get assaulted by an uncle that's a little too touchy feely. Like those particular situations arise everywhere, and that's why the Alabama law is actually a lot more barbaric than the ones that are passing, because we're just fuck the rape victims again. And the incest victims, because you do not get a pass under this law. That's
and the problem with rape or incest. So if you have a younger, sort of early teenage or even possibly preteen young lady, she gets pregnant. Well, if she already has a highly irregular menstrual cycle or non-existent menstrual cycle, she's never going to know she's pregnant. And by the time she does know she's pregnant, because she's never reported it, there may not be a police report on file and all the other factors that are involved. Now she becomes invalidated from effective health care because the timeline that was arbitrarily created. Is that really fair?
No, it's not, but I mean, these you got to understand, these are the people that think abstinence only is the only kind of sex education you need, but they also believe a virgin got pregnant with the Holy Ghost and was a virgin for her whole life.
What about the situation where you're carrying a fetus? At some point, the fetus is known to be dead, right? You're outside that 16-week or 20-week benchmark. Are you now required to carry that to term and have to go through active labor?
No, well, I mean, yes, that's what those particular types of laws would mean, is that women would be forced to give birth to stillborn babies. And I mean, pregnancy and the birthing process is traumatic in the first place, but to have to go through that and only to give birth to your child that's already dead, I mean, that takes an emotional toll on somebody, and nobody should be put through that.
Well, but I can only imagine knowing your baby has already passed on and you are now legislatively required to give birth. I can't even imagine the level of mental trauma that would create within that family. That you're unfortunately going to be filling mental health wards because you don't want to fill, OBGYN wards with, effective healthcare. But that's, but unfortunately you guys have a situation in your country we do not have in my country, right? So I live in socialist Canada where medicine is free and I just go see my doctor when I need to. So, in fact, I did a video on my channel about the cost of what my stroke would have cost me had I been in the States. My stroke cost me in Canada roughly $250 Canadian.
Damn.
Like that includes an ambulance ride. That was about $45. That includes snacks. $38 for television, and one of my best friends went out and bought me women's 2X pink plaid pajamas on my bank card. Right? Do you know what? Yeah, and I rock those all the time. The problem is he thinks I have a fat ass, and I have a body image issue, but that's another story. In your country, my stroke would have been roughly $70,000.
Oh yeah,
just for the
trust me.
Stay.
Well, me being I'm a diabetic, and so if I didn't have my insurance with as good as insurance that it is, I mean, I would not be able, like, I would be dead by now, like literally dead, because back in 2016, I actually got put in the hospital for diabetic ketoacidosis, and yeah, so there was that one case a little while ago where a guy got, I think that maybe he turned 26 or something, got kicked off of his parents' insurance, and he couldn't afford his insulin, and he actually ended up dying because he couldn't get his insulin.
Didn't he run out of insulin like 3 weeks before his next paycheck or 2 weeks before his next paycheck? I think I've heard of that event.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and some of the support groups I belong to on Facebook, I see people talking all the time like, I don't know how I can afford this, and I'm like, I'll just shut up that I'm Canadian because I don't want to get yelled at. Because like my physiotherapy covered by the province, my speech and language covered by the province, my occupational therapy covered by the province. I go to see my general practitioner and say, hey, listen, I need to go see a cardiologist, covered by the province. I go see my neurologist, covered by the province. Like literally my biggest expense since my stroke has been parking and coffee. Like I shit you not. It's if I lived in your country, I'd be bankrupt.
Yeah.
There's just no way about it.
Well, I mean, there are people that go. I mean, look, we have a hit show here called Breaking Bad, where a guy had to start selling meth just to cover his medical bills for cancer. I mean, that's how bad shit is in America.
Well, and the problem. What was that, Casey?
She said best nation on earth.
Well, and the problem is every time you guys have an election on the federal level and the whole state-sponsored healthcare gets discussed, they immediately run to the socialist Canada. And I'll be honest, it's never been effectively explained on any of your political debates or shows. So yes, we pay slightly higher taxes in Canada. Well, I'll give you that much. Yes, there are wait times when you go to the hospital. I'll give you that much. Certain procedures may not be covered by your provincial health care plan. Possible. But you know what? I got onto an ambulance at my workplace because that's where I had my stroke. They took me at 120 kilometers an hour, roughly 85 miles, from my place of work to the local nearest neurotrauma center. There was no argument about how I'm getting there. They went as fast as they could, full rate. I showed up to the hospital. I was diagnosed within 7 minutes. My treatment and all that other stuff started shortly thereafter. Not once did they ask me for a bank card, a credit card, do a credit history. They basically asked me, do you have a driver's license so we can get your address, and do you have a health card? And I went, as best I could talk, yes. They grabbed it on my wallet, and then I was checked into the hospital. It was literally that simple.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah, no, I mean that sounds like it would be great to do here.
and And the only time I had to worry about spending money was when it came time to get a subscription for the TV service and the internet in the hospital.
Oh, wow.
You know, that was it. And then you're paying the hospital itself, not the province. Like you're paying the actual like entertainment facility to get your TV. That was it.
Now, I'm just curious. Do you get like maple syrup for free up there? Is it like, it in like a IV?
Okay, so technically maple syrup is given intravenously, unless you're diabetic, and then you get maple syrup light.
Okay.
Although, you know, so it's something that's given in hospitals intravenously. Sometimes you'll get a bit of the blood, sometimes the maple syrup. You know, it all depends.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I do need to get to the next caller really quick because we're kind of winding down. But it was awesome talking to you, man. And maybe next time you can call in and we can talk about the whole YouTube stuff.
Sure, that'd be great. And just remember, keep your banana hammock on right, yellow stain to the front, brown stain to the rear, and you're a good man.
All right, I will keep that in mind.
Have a good night, G. Good night, Keith.
All right.
Bye-bye. Bye.
See you later. All right. Last caller. How you doing?
All right, I'm doing good. I'm actually cooking dinner as I'm speaking to you on the phone.
Oh, okay. Who am I talking to?
You're talking to Gary White.
Oh, hey, Gary.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good. I'm actually cooking dinner as I'm speaking to you, like I said.
Yeah. Well, okay. What are you making? KC has to know.
I was making some meatballs and some fries.
Oh, okay. Meatballs are good.
It was something. It was something I actually cooked it tonight because we were getting hungry and everything. So I was like, well, I'm deciding to make something. By the way, you're actually going to get your the Vision comics soon from me. I will have to get your address so I can send them to you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've got a PO box. It's on the channel, but I'll send it directly to you on Facebook because I know that we're friends on Facebook, so I can send it to you there.
Yeah, because I'd rather, because for one, because I just got mine. I got my third issue today, and then I'll get the 3 sent to you. I might have them directly sent from the comic book shop to you. So once I get that address, I'll send it. I'll write the address down, and then I'll probably have the comic book shop send it to you.
Okay.
I don't know how much they would charge, but I probably would do something like that. And yes, I actually have my. I don't have it on right now, but I do have my Xbox Live up and running.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, you sent me your Xbox name, and so I will definitely get you added. I actually haven't been on my Xbox, since you messaged me that. So I'm glad you reminded me about it. I've got it right here.
Yeah, I sent you so many messages about that, and I was like, well, I wonder if he already got my message or not. Because you doing the plays on your YouTube is really good too. Hold on, someone wants to talk to you. Hold on.
Okay.
Hi, John.
Hey, Jane. How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
I was getting a little personal with Casey, telling her about a situation I've been through. It's really hard, because everybody has an opinion about it.
Right.
But I just want to know, what would the survival rate of a kid, with an upside down heart and cyst on the brain? What would the survival rate of it be?
I don't know. I would say probably not good, but I wouldn't be able to give you an exact one right now. I can probably look it up and let you know later.
Okay. So what is your take on this whole thing? I mean, like, where do you think it begins? Like, where do you think it begins to where it should be allowed, and where do you think it shouldn't be allowed?
Well, I think
I'm on the phone with John anyway.
I think that the once the baby is, or not, well, the fetus, once the fetus is viable, I think at that point it like elective, I guess, abortion possibly shouldn't be allowed. But I'm not all that knowledgeable on when that exactly happens, or what constitutes that. But as far as like viability goes, I would say viability is the line to draw. But I mean, even then, after that point, you have certain situations that would require, an abortion, because the baby would end up not being viable, or something could happen like that, and then there would need to be an abortion. But I think that prior to that point, I mean, it's a fetus, it's not viable, and so if the mom doesn't find out or is conflicted up until a certain point, I think that she should have full option to either end that pregnancy or continue with it. A lot of people characterize it as being pro-abortion, but it's really just pro-choice. I just think that women should have the choice, and then studies have shown, and actual statistics have shown, that after the 13-week mark, it's very rare for abortions to happen, and even then, they're medically necessary.
Well, I know I've mentioned a couple times that I have fertility problems, and so it was really difficult and really hard for me because I didn't want to go through it. I honestly didn't. My life was threatened in my particular situation. I know that doesn't apply to everyone.
Right. And that's good that you can recognize that. And there are a lot. I would probably say most people out there could recognize it. Just the most vocal ones out there don't.
Yeah, so like I said, it's Gary again. I was just, I'm sorry, we was listening to you while you was talking to us on the phone. So, like I said, as soon as I get a chance to, I will get the comics sent to you. And then, like I said, but since I do got the division, have you already beaten that game already, or I know you're already on 2, but have you beaten the first one yet?
I actually haven't beaten the first one yet. Like, I'm a pretty fair ways away into it, but I haven't actually beaten the first division.
Okay. Well, like I said, as soon as I get a chance to get the first division, maybe we can team up and actually play on teams or whatever.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Do you got a mic?
Yeah, hold on. Someone wants to talk to you. Hold on for one quick second. Hold on. Hello?
Hello?
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Who's this?
I'm doing good. Tell me your name. My name is Scott. I get on there, but I haven't been able to join the Skeptic Mafia yet.
Oh, okay. Skeptic Mafia is where it's at, yo.
Do what?
I said the Skeptic Mafia is where it's at, yo.
I know. I'm trying to join it, but Yeah, but that's our buddy. He's actually watching our puppy right now. When we go to work and stuff.
Oh, okay.
But like I said, as soon as I get a chance to, because I know the comic book that has all 3. But what I'll do is I'll go down there and I'll get them, and then I'll see once I write down your address. I'll have them see how much would it cost to actually have them send it to you instead of me trying to send it out, because I do have trouble sending stuff out.
Yeah. I mean, I usually have
So-
problems with that too. I try to be diligent about it, but sometimes I let things go for a little while. So I feel your pain.
Right. Yeah, I actually try to get into that one your guys' hangout that one day, but I was at work at the time and I couldn't get online couldn't get on while I was at work. So I listened to you guys while I was at work. But like I said, soon as I get a chance to, or like I said, you can send me a request, or you can send me your gamer tag through Facebook, and I'll add you or whatever.
Okay, yeah, no, I'll get you added. I've got your name highlighted in our Facebook chat, so I'll get you added. Okay.
Okay, and maybe one day we get a chance to, we'll come down because she's got family who lives in North Carolina. Maybe one day we'll come out and maybe come down and hang out with you guys for a little bit, or you guys can come up here and hang out with us for a little bit.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Whereabouts are you guys?
We're in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, okay, awesome. Yeah, Casey's from Ohio.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's what she was talking about that one day, and I said, I wonder what we're from, and she was talking about she's from like Cincinnati or close to Dayton or whatever.
Yeah.
So I said,
just south of
we're
Dayton.
actually from, and then in the time in the one chat we said we're from Columbus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I was just like, because I've been real busy trying to, do some things like make dinner, so I haven't got a chance to get on the phone until now. So.
Well, I'm really glad that you called in, man. It's great to talk to you.
Yeah. Oh, I have one question for you. I don't know how much you know about certain authors or whatever. But I actually did pick up a book about a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta get the book out. Hold on. It's David Silverman. I actually got his Fighting God book. What do you think about that book?
Well, I've started that book, but I haven't finished it. And I mean, I think Dave's got a pretty good head on his shoulders. He's had a little bit of controversy in his past. But he's got a pretty good head on his shoulders, and I think that book's a pretty decent book to read for anybody.
Yeah,
that's...
I've actually started that book myself, and it's actually pretty good. I actually like it.
Yeah, it's a really good book.
So,
I can let's see. I actually haven't read any specifically like atheist, I guess, oriented books in a while. Like I've been really delving hard into the mythicism oriented books, but I should really go back and read like Fighting God and other books like that.
What kind of mythicism books could you recommend if I really wanted to read some books like that?
Like the mythicism?
Yeah.
Well, a really good book to start out with is David Fitzgerald's 10 Christian Myths. It's nailed 10 Christian Myths. It's a really good book.
Okay.
It's really easy to read, and it lays out the information pretty well. And it actually, yeah. So if you guys can see it whenever you look, whenever it shows up on the screen, but I've got it right here. It's a really good book.
Okay.
He's also got a few other books that really lay it out. It's the Jesus Mything in Action. It's a three. Sorry, we've got all these books. It's a 3-volume set, and I actually did the artwork for it. But it's called Jesus Mything in Action. So David Fitzgerald is a really good one to start out with, and then if you get really like interested in it or want a more technical view of it, then looking at Richard Carrier's books would be my next go-to.
Yeah, because I was actually considering getting a Carrier book at the time, but at the time I didn't have that much money on me, and I wasn't trying to spend too much money on books.
Right. Well, I mean, if you're looking for just general like information or whatnot to look through, a good cheap way is actually going to the App Store on whatever phone you have and looking for the Crestus app. If you look for Crestus, it's a fairly cheap compared to like what all these books cost. I think it's like about $8 maybe, but it has like it's done up by Richard Carrier, and I'm actually now in charge of development for it. But it it has a lot of great information in it, and it kind of covers like the mythicist, like the minimal mythicist argument.
All right. Well, I can probably look into that as soon as I get back on my feet again, because that day after I was listening to your video, I ended up losing my job right after that, and I'm like, daggone it!
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Well, he called me. My boss called me that day and says, "We got some bad news to tell you. We decided we're not going to bring you back anymore because with the situation with the buses." And I'm like, really? Okay.
Oh, damn. That really sucks, man. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's just with the bus situations here. Yeah, we both don't drive, and we're trying to get us a car and everything. I'm trying to get my license so I can actually, instead of just driving, taking the bus every day, I can actually drive to work.
Well, I mean, I hope that everything goes great, and if there's anything that I can ever do for you, man, you just let me know.
Yeah, like I said, if I ever do get my license and we do get a car, and she decides she wants to go down and see family or whatever, and then if you guys want, we can come hang out with you guys. You can always this number that I'm calling you on. You can always keep this number with you if you want to call me or call her once in a while and see what's up.
Okay, man. Yeah. I've got your number, so I'll definitely hit you up and check on you every once in a while.
And then when I first seen your videos, you did pretty good. I started getting into you when my fiance was listening a little bit of your videos, and then when I looked at you, you looked like a buddy of mine from where I used to live at in London.
Yeah, I get that a lot. That I look like somebody's friend, or I look like somebody knows. I get that a lot. Even in my own town, it's like, hey, do I know you? Is your name Phil?
No, I have a buddy of mine who passed away like about 4 or 5 months ago, and you look like not exactly like him, but both y'all look almost similar to each other.
Okay.
I said, wait.
I have a very generic face.
I was joking around with him one night, and I said, wait a minute, don't you have a brother we don't know about? And I was just joking. I'm talking about Jesse, honey. Yeah, but his name, my buddy's name was Jesse Murray, and he actually passed away about 9 days before my birthday. Okay, honey, I'm sure John has another phone. I know, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Am I the last caller, or do you have any more other callers?
Oh no, you're the last caller. You'll be it.
Okay, I'm the last caller, honey.
Oh, okay.
Well, she didn't know I was the last caller or not.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was just running some stuff by you because I know I haven't talked to you, or I've seen your videos, and I've subscribed, and somehow my membership is messed up right now, but I'll get it back on sooner or later. So.
Oh, okay. It's no problem, really. I like all of the perks that YouTube provides through it, so that's why I push it as hard as I do. So
yeah.
But don't ever put yourself in a bad position just because of the whole Skeptic Mafia thing.
It's not that. It's just I try to at least try to keep my cards under mostly up above some money so I can be able to pay for my membership on there. And somehow I just went and watched your video today and looked and it said no. I was like, oh man, my membership's off today. Darn it! I'll have to figure out put some money on that and so I can be able to get my membership back up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And like I said, maybe one day we get a chance to. We could probably like maybe one day we could play some games or whatever.
Oh
we
yeah,
meet up and play some games or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to. I don't really get a lot of chances to play, but you know, we can definitely hook up on there and we can play some Division or something.
Yeah, some Division. What about Call of Duty? Do you play any Call of Duty games or no?
Yeah, I mean, I've got Call of Duty 4, and Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is what I got. And I've got some previous
Oh, you only got
ones.
Black Ops 4? Darn it, I only got Black Ops 3. Daggone it.
Oh, well, I mean, I know I've had Black Ops 3 in the past. I don't recall if I have it on my computer or on the Xbox. I can't remember which one, but I'll figure it out.
The only newest Call of Duty I have is World War II.
Oh, okay. Well,
because I don't
hey,
have
Gary,
Black Ops 4 because I don't want to spend $50-some on Black Ops 4 because someone will kick my butt.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in that camp.
I apologize if I don't always make sense.
Because she always tells me, instead of spending that $50 on the game, you should put that towards something else. Okay.
Yeah, I pretty much just use my ad revenue from YouTube to buy video games. So.
And then, how far are you on that Metro Exodus?
Oh, I'm not too far. I haven't passed the very first section yet. It's like I said, it's hard for me to, find time to really play and whatnot, and to edit the videos and everything. So I just sort of, I'm very much a long game player.
Okay. Because so how do you? What do you think about it? You think it's really good or what? Because I'm actually was considering getting it.
Oh, it's a very good game, especially if you like the horror survival kind of thing, and it's sort of an open world. You can go out and explore, and you can do different things, and it's really fun. So I would definitely suggest getting it if you like that kind of thing.
Okay, so it's like Silent Hill a little bit because I've actually played the first Silent Hill on the PS1.
Maybe kind of. It's got more gunplay in it, I would say, and it's less like solving puzzles and more like story oriented.
Yeah, because I actually beat that. On there. And it's hard for me to find that game. That last time I seen that game was about $60. I'm like, shoo, I ain't paying that much for it.
Yeah. Well, hey Gary, it was awesome talking to you tonight. Awesome having you on, but I do have to go.
All right.
It was great talking to you. I hope that you'll call in again. Huh?
All right. Maybe one day, maybe you shoot me a text or something.
Oh yeah, definitely, man.
All right. See you later. Good night.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Good night. Goodbye.
Bye. All right. Well, there is one call in queue, but we do not have time to get to it. I'm so sorry, caller, that if you're listening and whatnot. I'm not going to be able to get to you tonight, but definitely try to call in next time, and we will get to you. So I'm again sorry about that, but we do have to go. Y'all have a lovely, lovely day, or night rather, and I guess we'll be seeing you guys later. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice, and we will see you guys on Friday, I guess. Bye, heathens.